It's kind of like if you think about a pearl becomes a pearl because of the scratching, right?
Right, right,
Diamond becomes a diamond because of the level of heat. And I think
right.
that my early experiences have catapulted me to
That's right.
to where I am today.
A growing health, wellness, and leadership podcast designed for you to become your most empowered self.
Great day, amazing humans. Welcome to the Empowered in My Skin podcast, where our mission is to help 1 billion people in this world think in more empowering ways. Empowered humans empower humans. So you are the right spot to become a lead domino for empowerment today. So let the show begin. Great day, amazing humans. Yes, welcome to the next episode of Empowered in My Skin, the podcast. This guest, our next guest, is a powerhouse who has spent over 20 years reshaping the future of work, elevating leadership, building inclusive cultures, and championing talent across Canada and beyond. A visionary entrepreneur behind national training brands, a creator of scholarships that open doors, and a voice recognized amongst WXN most powerful women in Canada. So please join me in a gigantic, massive podcast welcome for the amazing Dr. Caroline Power.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Nkechi.
It is such a pleasure. And so transparently, I just have to say I don't know how long we had. We had like incredible B-roll. So we're all
Absolutely.
fired up. We've been
For
and I
sure.
love it. So thank you so much for
Absolutely.
feeding my spirit already. So to get us started, my kickoff question for you is what has been your most empowering thought of the day so far?
So far, the most empowering thought for me has been just a marveling of my spirit about the glory and the grace of God. Because
Mm,
when I think about my journey, my where it
hmm
came from, my the circumstances of my birth and childhood to where I am today, it is but for the grace of God. And so that's been very empowering for me today. And I start every day with some time with God, still time.
Well, so you know what? I'm just gonna double click right there. I'm actually gonna, I'm just reading, that's not our first question. So I always know that the origin story matters. And
Absolutely.
so I'm gonna just say go.
Go. Okay. Well, it's over the last, I want to say 5 years or so, I've picked up a meditation practice. So
hmm
every morning, one of the first things that I do is I spend some still time.
hmm
And most of the still time has been around gratitude, just being grateful for what I have, not thinking about what I don't, and not doing comparison, but gratitude for what I have and where I am and what I can do. In the last little while, I've added to that, though, specific still time in the Bible. And so in my case, I use the Bible app and
Me
I have,
too.
I have
The
plans,
brown icon.
the little brown icon,
Okay, I'm gonna
right?
have to look for you. We're gonna have to friend up. Okay,
And
go
I
on.
have plans we do, and I have the plan that you can choose different
Yes,
plans that
yes.
you go through. And
Mhm.
so I have different plans that I use from time to time. And so that's how I start my day. I don't spend a lot of time, but I ensure that the time is spent because I find that it really does settle me, give me
Mhm.
focus, ground me, and gets me ready to take on anything that the world throws.
Mhm. But I need more of your origin story.
Origin story,
So
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Birth, a normal birth, born to a woman, though, who abandoned me as an infant.
Mm,
And my father, so I'm a daddy's girl.
mm,
So my story is a little different, maybe than a lot of people are, mommy's girl, and you hear a lot about
mhm,
mothers. Love mothers, nothing, mothers are great. But my father is the person who was there when my mother walked away. And he raised me until alone
mm,
with paid help, but he raised me alone until I was 9 years old. And then he put me in the care as a boarder with a clergy
mm,
woman who I now and for a couple of decades have acknowledged to be my mother, really.
mm.
She loved me and she put everything in me that actually has created who I am today. So
Oh, that's beautiful.
a love of education, discipline, grit, which is something that is at the center of who I am, And so Sister Julia is her name, and she was really the person who supported me at birth. My father was there to
Hmm.
financially support, but at 9 years old is when I met this clergy woman who raised me. So I always think about myself as fortunate because, an infant being abandoned by a mother, like
Hmm.
this is a tough start, but yet
Hmm.
here I am, with being who I am because I was fortunate enough to have this woman in my life.
And where did you grow up?
Grew up in Jamaica.
Okay.
Did elementary in Jamaica, did early high school in Jamaica, then came to Canada and finished high school, and then everything else was here.
And so how old were you when you came here?
17 years old and
Okay.
went to high school. Lived with my so over when I was in my late teens, was introduced to my mother, my biological mother, and met my mother. Lived there for 2 years only, though.
Okay.
Had a stepfather and somehow was on my own after 2 years. And
Hmm.
so on my own, finished up high school,
Hmm.
then managed to get myself into university and made my way. And
And are you open to share how that was like meeting your biological mother and maybe,
sure,
the emotions that
happy to share.
yeah.
Sure. So I was early teens when I learned because as a little girl I was curious about my mom because at school
Hmm.
everybody else had a mom and I had a
Hmm.
dad. I had a dad and loved my dad because my dad was my is
What
my
did they tell you growing up when you
well, I was told that my mother left. I was
okay.
told that my mother didn't want me.
Okay. So
Uh,
you
yeah,
were okay.
I
Hmm.
was told that. And
Hmm.
when I met her at 17, her side of the story is a little different. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, as a child, you have nothing to do with that decision and that
Hmm.
outcome. And as a
Hmm.
child, you feel your emotion is abandonment somehow.
Hmm.
So whether
Hmm.
whatever, however it went. And so struggled with that. And I want to say that that's behind me now because I've
Hmm.
sort of worked. That's something I've had to work through.
Hmm.
But I mentioned it as I speak with you, Nkechi, because we all want to feel like we are wanted, right? And
Yeah.
even though we can cerebrally think through maybe what she was going through or what he was, the point is I didn't have my mom around, right? So I struggled.
Yeah.
So early teens, I learned that my mother was, she had relatives. And so somehow my father reached out to her sister who was in
Hmm.
Jamaica. And so the connection was reestablished that way. And so between I guess 12 years old and 16 years old or
Hmm.
so in my life, we started to communicate. And so
Hmm.
that's how I was sponsored by my mother to come to Canada.
Come here. Oh
Yeah, that
wow.
was the story. And then by then she had married, and
Hmm.
there was a stepfather who uh, understood. Apparently, was told by her that I was going to be the come to help with their daughter, their mutual daughter. I was
Okay.
not going to
Okay.
school, but I came to go to school.
Yes.
And so that was an issue. And so a difficult time again, being in
Yeah.
a household and not feeling that I wasn't wanted. And
Hmm.
I know your listeners are, I'm happy for your listeners to understand how difficult it can be for some people who, one, have to go through the culture shock of going to a new
Hmm.
country and then being in a place where a
Hmm.
parent who abandoned them is married to somebody who doesn't want them. So that was a
That's
very
right.
difficult time
That's
for
right.
for me.
And so I'm actually so thank you. And it's interesting
Sure.
because we were kind of saying that you can look at somebody and I do truly fundamentally believe, which is the reason for this podcast, that there's everybody has a story.
Everybody has a
I
story.
wouldn't, and obviously I don't know what I would have thought your story was, but that is not what I had thought,
Well,
right?
this
Like,
is it. You
yeah.
look at people and it all looks nice and glowy and flashy, and you don't know the story or the history.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm not blind to the fact that everybody, like for us, I think we'd have the audacity to think um, that we'd go through life without problems, right? Like,
Well,
who makes you so?
it's interesting and catchy because, because of I mean, like, coming up into Canada, no, very little support on my
Hmm.
own, put out because of
Hmm.
all of that, the torque, literally the push, the torque
Hmm.
to achieve. especially based on the foundation that was laid in me from
Hmm.
my sister Julia, and the torque and what I was dealing with, that actually made me push harder and
Hmm.
strive to do better. It's kind of like if you think about a pearl becomes a pearl because of the scratching, right?
Right, right,
Diamond becomes a diamond because of the level of heat. And I think
right.
that my early experiences have catapulted me to
That's right.
to where I am
It was
today.
all the pressure,
Mm,
all the
mm,
push
absolutely.
to the diamond that you are on today. And so how many of those, how many that between Sister Julia, your dad and your mom, is everyone still in your ecosystem of
Oh
life?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. My
Yeah.
relationship with my mother is always going to be a relationship that is growing.
Hmm.
Because forgiveness, of course, but it's always going to grow. Yes.
Right.
And
Eh,
my father has passed, and Sister Julia have passed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And you spoke about abandonment, and just interesting because in the journey of empowerment,
Mm,
um, abandonment is almost contrary, right? Because to be fully, truly empowered, I believe in your skin, you have to feel extremely grounded, that it's not the things that leave you or subtracted from you or that make you. Like
yeah.
it's in absence, like it's an absence of those, right? And so when did you find out that you maybe had some work to do and where abandonment was something that you had to lean in to learn about and let release?
Yeah, I realized it. Well, I didn't have language for it at the time, but I
Hmm.
realized in my early 20s, so 21, 22, early 20s, I realized that I somehow was always yearning, this deep yearning to gain my biological mother's approval.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I felt at the time as though I was on a treadmill, and that, would do more and
Hmm.
just do more and just achieve more
Hmm.
and achieve more and say, look, is this good? And nothing was ever quite good enough. And so
Hmm.
I realized that I needed to deal with being satisfied with who I was, and when I got to the research and got to the therapists and realized that they gave me language. They said, this is, you're dealing with some of the outcomes of people who've been abandoned.
Hmm.
So I needed to realize that I didn't need anybody to validate my
That's right.
worth.
That's right.
My worth was fundamentally in place just as a human being. And so I did work in that regard. And so now I'm quite confident. My self-esteem is intact, especially because as a little girl, my father always had me feel that I could do anything I set my mind to.
Mm.
He was instrumental in that. That's one of the things I
Hmm.
absolutely thank my father for. I always
Do you
felt loved.
do you find
Yeah.
it divine that the two people that saw you through your youth are both the ones that are gone and you're given all this time now with your biological mother?
It's interesting. Yes, they are gone. I hold them dearly in my heart.
Mm.
As I said, my biological mother
And I
is
should say physically gone because yeah, I'm sorry.
physically,
Yeah, yeah,
physically.
yeah,
No, no, no,
yeah.
no. This is
Yeah,
key. This is
yeah.
key because spiritually they're
Yeah.
absolutely around. My biological mother's here, but I have one of the things, and this is a new thing, and I say this to listeners to say that it's never too late for us to make shifts in our lives. Only in the last, I want to say a couple of years, I have empowered, speaking of empowering, I have empowered myself to manage the boundaries between my biological mother and myself. Because
Mm.
for decades, actually, for decades, I was myself, accomplished all of this, but still a 2-year-old trying to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now love, I forgive, I love, I do all of that, but I also manage boundaries to keep me safe,
Yeah. Yes, I hear
to
that.
keep me safe, to keep me safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing. And I think that that
absolutely.
gives us great context. So out of that, you have climbed well, I'm going to say the corporate ladder as far like from
Yeah,
a societal perspective,
sure.
big roles in large organizations, leading. But you walked away from all of that, which one would say is the certainty of corporate life, right? Like, and so what was your turning point and
Sure.
and what was the moment you knew you had to build something for yourself on your
Mhm.
own?
So post MBA, I landed my first people leadership role, and I worked for Big Blue. So at the time it was GE, General Electric.
Hmm.
General Electric, many of your listeners know about GE.
Hmm.
And GE Capital is a part of GE that
Yes.
I worked
Hmm.
for. And promoted one thing to the next, moved down to corporate, US corporate, and came back and realized that I was doing very well professionally, but somehow when I in meetings would say something, sometimes, often, more often than not, someone else would say the same thing that I just said, but somehow it got more airtime when they said it.
Hmm.
And it was typically someone else who didn't look like me. And so
Hmm.
it was not lost on me that one, I was good, and two, I needed to find platforms that would allow me to shine to the extent of my talent. And
Woo.
I sat with that for, oh, probably a decade because of, to your point, the certainty of corporate. And plus I was raised to be an employee, go out and get a good job and keep your good job, not to be an entrepreneur. At the time, entrepreneurship was not seen the way it is seen today.
Yeah.
And so I stayed safe and secure, managed to conform, managed to do what needed to be done, managed to have the corporate look, managed to all of those things. And then 1 year, not a day, 1 year, because it took time, 1 year, it became clear to me that, and this was the question, if not now, when? Because
Mm.
I knew that I was good and I knew that I had bigger and better things to do. And so
Mhm.
I stepped out. I stepped out, but I will be open and transparent with the audience. I've launched my company, but I didn't leave corporate the same day. I
Mm.
launched my
Mhm.
company and had my organization on the side
Mhm.
for 5 years
Mhm.
and built it, did bits and I mean, I not on company time, of course, but weekends, evenings,
Mhm.
did my own thing, built it. And then there was one day that I said, no, that's it, I'm stepping out. And so then I launched. And by then I already had traction. And
Mhm.
I realized this is not the pathway for everybody. Some people will wake up one day and quit and do the whole thing right away.
Mhm.
That was not my story. My story was I launched my organization 1 year, 2010, 2011, be completely open with your audience. 2011, I incorporated. The next year I
Mhm.
incorporated. And then between 2011 and 2016, I
Mhm.
did this and did that and little things here and there. And then 2016, 2017, I stepped right out.
And I love, and I will be honest with you, I'm unapologetic. People know Empowered in My Skin, I incorporated in 2014. It is my side hustle. And interestingly enough, I live empowered in my skin everywhere. So even in
Yeah.
corporate. So I get to, like corporate has probably really helped me hone what I want to do on that platform even more so because I do believe my ministry is in corporate,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
helping more people in corporate become empowered in my skin versus conformity and this, then the other, right?
Yeah.
And so I encourage everybody that there is purpose in you, and your purpose might be in corporate, but if it is, it's more than just waking up every single morning and going to have a job and getting a paycheck. Like
Absolutely.
it needs to come alive in the meetings, your interactions, the projects, the programs, the text messages, the phone calls, like all of the things that you do wherever it is that you find yourself,
Yeah.
it should be expressing itself in some shape or fashion. But my question to you, Dr. Caroline, is even making that move where you started something that was being fed from probably your purpose,
Yes.
how did that shift how you were showing up in corporate, knowing that now you just again, I'm just trying to provide value to
Completely.
yeah, to when you even just are moving in purpose, everything
Completely.
else becomes more purposeful.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Completely. Well, what I found, no, no, I love your question. Thank you, Nkechi, because what I found was, well, when I first registered the business, even before incorporated, I found that it somehow put a kick in my step because all of a sudden I felt that I was doing something that I set out to do
Mhm.
personally and
Mhm.
professionally on the other side. The
Mhm.
other piece is I somehow felt that I had diffused the power base because no longer did one single entity hold
Mhm.
the pen to my future. Right.
Mm.
So I knew that there was the corporate paycheck big, and it was, I mean, I was the senior vice president level, so big dollars
Mhm.
wasn't any match. I mean, my business wasn't, it was very small,
Mhm.
but I knew that I had started down a journey where I was building something else that potentially could be the same size or bigger. And today, my business, now what I pay myself today is a multiple of what I made back then.
Yes, yes.
Right. But I somehow, so one, I was more confident, but two, I also knew that I had diffused it. Right. Because
Yes.
when you, even when you work in corporate, when you work for an organization, whether it's corporate, whether it's government, whether it's not for profit, you have one client. That's the
Mhm.
client. Right.
Mhm.
When you're an entrepreneur, when you're running a business, you have multiple clients, some of which you can fire.
Yes,
right? When you
yes.
work for a company, an organization, you can't, right? You fire them and now you need another job, you need a
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So I knew that I was diffusing that power base and
I love that.
that supported me. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love that. So, but still, even with all of that, was there any fear leading up to that day when you were like, it's time? And if
Of
so,
course. Of
yeah, so
course. Of
what were
course.
the
Of
things that
course.
kept what were the fear
Well,
points that kept you and
you
how did you
know,
get through them? Yeah, more.
yeah. And what were the fair points and how did I get
Mhm.
through them? Yeah, there was always well, I can't don't know if there's always, but certainly with me there was what if it doesn't work? Because the truth is, especially when you're a corporate animal, when you're
Yeah.
raised to go to school and get a good
Yeah,
job,
yeah, yeah.
you're used to the paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever the frequency is. And so now if you've handed in your notice and you're gone, every day you wake up, you have a blank slate,
Hmm.
like a blank slate, which you
Hmm.
have to fill. And
Yes.
so there was concern. And one of the things that it did, though, how did I get around? It made me realize that I had to land on my feet because I was it. I was going to
Mm,
fill those spots in my day. I was going to, and so it made me, well, I wouldn't say more resilient. I was already
mm,
resilient, but it made me literally push harder than I ever had
mm,
because I had no alternative. There was no plan
mm,
B. There was no plan.
mm,
This is why when I hear about people who start something but they're kind of half in half out, if you're going to once you decide to launch out and close the other gates, I call it, go big, go big. Don't have a plan B. Don't go. And I know not having a plan B sounds weird, but if you have a plan B, then you're going to be maybe falling back on it. Say to
mm,
yourself, this has to work. I have to do it.
mm, mm,
When you say to yourself it has to work, it means though that you're going to go where the puck skate where the puck is
mm,
going, right? So I'm not saying you go one way and the puck's showing you that you should be going another when you're not. No, no, no. You pay attention to where the market's going. So if the market is saying you need to shift.
You need
If
to shift,
if
yeah.
you're seeing that you need collaborations and you need this and then you need to do it, but you say to yourself, I have to find a way to make this work.
Yeah.
This is why when we launch out, we have to launch out on more than just an idea. It has to be an idea that the market wants and the market has told us that it's willing to pay for. Because we
Mm-hmm.
can have ideas that sound good to us
Mm-hmm.
and that we're in love with, but the market
Mm-hmm.
has not told us that it's looking for that
That's
idea.
right. So talk to us. What problem were you out to solve?
The problem that I continue to solve is twofold. It's one, it's to help organizations build better environments for their people. That's one sentence. Let me break it down. It's to help organizations build environments where people can feel psychologically safe. They can feel less anxious or less anxiety about who they are, what they say, how they work. That's
Mm-hmm.
the first problem to be solved to help organizations. So a part of my business is B2B. It's facing other organizations, corporate, government, or not-for-profits. The second problem that I am solving successfully is helping people equip themselves with credentials to advance their career.
Mm,
And so the people that I have niched down on are people who lead the people function. So HR
mm.
professionals.
Okay.
You can say people broadly.
Yes.
In fact, initially I said people broadly, 10 years ago, but I, over the years, have realized you need to niche down. And so I've picked a niche, and the niche
Okay.
that I do for that is the HR professional. So those
Yeah,
are
and that makes it a lot easier.
two
Yeah.
problems and
Yeah.
then that's all that I do. I don't do any recruiting. I don't do anything else. And it's all to do with corporate training and
Yeah.
development.
And doesn't it fascinate you because so you're talking about 13 years since you incorporated about. Doesn't it fascinate you that
Yeah.
those problems that you set out to solve are still, if not more prevalent now, especially on the other side of COVID than ever before?
They're
So
different.
they're
They're
different.
different.
Oh, this is good. Yeah.
They have
How they,
evolved. They
can
have
you explain how
evolved,
they shifted?
shifted and evolved. Absolutely. So for corporations, one of the things that happened that caused a big shift is 2017, the Me Too movement came out.
Mm,
And so there we saw a big uptick where there was in impetus and for corporations to actually do things to help to keep their people psychologically safe around sexual harassment, around
hmm
people who are angry, etc. So there's
hmm
been a shift. So we've had some interventions around that. And then a second thing that's changed is COVID itself pushed a lot of people to want to retool to
Mm.
build their careers. Yes, because during COVID, a lot of people had time to rethink, what do I want to do? What do I want to da, da, da. And for a lot of people, that meant going back to getting some training and getting some
Hmm.
education. And in that, what we have done to support some of both of those changes is we've created learning that is just in time. So it's bite-sized chunks of training and learning that people can take that's immediately applicable to their work.
Oh, I like
Right.
that.
And so, yeah, because leadership development in corporate training has gone to has shifted to a place where things need to be things that can be practically and
Applied
quickly,
right now.
easily applied
Yeah.
right now. So just in time learning is what we call it for
Hmm.
people, and things that are socially relevant.
Hmm. And how are you tackling the sort of the technological change and advancement
Oh,
of technology and how it's influencing human behavior?
the work has interesting this work. So when I started at the way back, most of the training was in person. Through over the last several years, we have now about 95% of our programs live virtual. Live virtual meaning there's a live facilitator with the group at the same time, so in a synchronous way. We do also another part of my business, Worldwide Workplace Learning, because my business is a portfolio of companies. So Worldwide Workplace Learning, we do have online courses where a person can get a username and a password and they can sign on. And 2 o'clock in the morning, they can take a course. And this kind of, I call it my Amazon of courses. So
Hmm.
we have online training and we have live virtual training and we have in-person training. And we now are actually coming out with some library catalog of seminars that are going to be on demand.
Wow. And
So
how is
technology, let me just say,
yeah.
technology has helped us
I was
grow
just gonna say, so this
exponentially.
sounds more like you are leaning into tech to,
Very much,
yeah.
very much.
But on another side of that, the technology advancement is also impacting how organizations and how workplace is looked at. And so how would is there any, like, I don't know if you've leaned in on that and can offer some insights in terms of what you're seeing happening in organizations today, like with the disruption of AI and yeah.
Yes, yes. So one of the things that we did, and this was a 2024, so last year, is we've created a suite of courses that specifically equip HR professionals
Mhm.
to work to gain competency in AI. So
Mhm.
how they use it, helping them see how they can use AI to advance the people function,
Mhm.
and also for HR professionals courses around cybersecurity because to the extent
Mm.
that the internet continues to grow, cybersecurity is going to be relevant. And
Yes.
we believe HR professionals who are conversant and able to show that they have competence in
Mhm.
AI, in the use of AI, as well as cybersecurity, we believe those people will have an edge. So we
Mhm.
created courses in those areas, and we've created a credential called the HR Tech Leadership Certificate.
Oh, wow.
That's one of
Okay.
the things we jumped on. Yeah, that's one of the things we
Mhm.
jumped on last year because when I looked at where the world is going, I realized we needed to have an answer for that to be
Mhm.
able to support HR professionals. We have the regular talent acquisition, succession planning.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We got all of
Mhm.
that. But I realized last year that we needed to have a piece of training that supported
Mhm.
people to give them an edge in that area because
And I, yeah.
they're going
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
they're going to the HR professionals that are going to lead the function in the future are going to
Mhm.
need to be conversant in tech.
And I love that I'm so aligned with you on that one, especially so one of the roles I have is like in my corporate world is to help drive the adoption of Gen AI tools that
Yeah,
the organization can use to increase productivity and how they work and
totally.
workflow. And it's interesting because I recognize the key partner for me is, in my opinion, should be HR,
People,
right?
yes,
Right?
people
Because they are working on workforce planning. They are working
completely.
on how do we look at talent and how do we maximize our talent. And it can't be in the absence of any of that, right? The risks, I even
I
like
am beaming. I am
yeah.
totally beaming because one of in our fundamentals of artificial intelligence for HR, one of the or several of the segments talk about how to partner with IT
Oh, okay.
to your point IT there has to be that
Hmm.
linkage, and
Hmm.
cybersecurity, same thing, because most of the cyber risks are people risks
Yes, yes, they are. No kidding,
at
right?
the
If
end of the
not
day,
anything, they
right?
are
Yeah, yeah.
pretty much, yeah. And even for myself, I've been in tech my entire life. It's been interesting because I think the biggest language change has been over the years where it's like, oh, tech's got it. It's a tech
Yeah.
problem, right? Like,
Right.
and this and not like we know that the best companies these days are having to like every employee is a tech employee,
Completely,
right?
completely.
Every company is a tech company,
Yeah.
and every employee is a tech company and a tech employee. So I love that. So before I move on to like, this has been so great so far. Thank you.
Yeah.
So one of the things um, I guess I admire about the work you've done is you had to you built something really truly from the ground up, and hearing you talk about it has me so excited to learn more about it, you know. But I think the biggest thing is success comes with systems.
Yeah.
And so having worked at such senior levels in corporate, you were exposed to how the organization probably worked, like, and that's through systems, right? Like I think broken systems, broken organization. So
Absolutely.
like what are some of like if you had to talk about like helping somebody who maybe wants to make that leap into entrepreneurship and this and the other,
Mhm.
systems are going to be really important. Even I'm learning that the areas of where I have stress and overwhelm,
Yeah.
if I look at the systems, there aren't any or
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
optimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you suggest are the fundamental systems that people would need to lock in
Yeah.
and start to build from?
If they're launching into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
So this one, I presume a lot of people get, you need a strong billing system. And billing, invoicing, tickler, file, reminder, so forth. So that's absolutely key. That one that you're comfortable with, one that doesn't have too high a fee rate either,
Hmm.
right? Because there's a fee. You need strong customer relationship management systems. Sometimes you can get that
So
get
this is managing like your people, like your customers?
so
Yeah.
managing the client
The
contacts,
clients. Yeah.
the,
Okay.
the touch bases, the follow up. The following up is really important because a lot of times your follow up is your wealth is in your follow up.
Ooh.
Right?
Hmm.
So the CRM that can do that. Some CRMs I'm saying though might have a billing system associated
Hmm.
with it as well.
Hmm.
One of the things that I find super important is to make the decision early on about whether you're going to bring people on as employees or people on as contractors. This is an important decision. A lot of times people, when they're getting started, think they have to hire everybody as an employee. Not necessarily. When you hire people, I'm talking as a business, when you hire people as employees, because you can bring people on that are not employees, you take a lot of risk. The employee relationship is fundamentally a legal one. So that's a
Hmm.
decision that needs to be made. You may decide that you want employees, though,
Hmm.
depending on, but know that you can have contractors or you can have independent contractors. And so that's a part of the system, the people side. And then the last part of the system that I think about is the strategic partnership side. What is that going to look like? What kind of system do I have in place to support the business? Because the business at the end of the day has to cross arms with other businesses in order
Hmm.
to grow. So think about it as linking elbows with other
Yes.
businesses, whether it is associations or whether it is whatever the other businesses are. We need to somehow partner with them, not vendors, other businesses, other
Hmm.
groups, in order to
Hmm.
leverage our strength. It's kind of like the concept of using other people's money if you're for financial growth. It's the same.
Hmm.
It's using other people's knowledge, other people's information by partnering. So if I recap, one system is thinking of the strategic partnership systems you want to put in
Hmm.
place that are bigger than the organization. One is thinking about the CRM, customer relationship management systems, to help you
Hmm.
see to automate your workflow. One is to think about your decision and your strategy around how am I going to leverage human resources? Are they going to be employees? Are they going to be contractors? Are they going to be independent contractors? And if yes to all of that, what's the proportion? And then
Hmm.
one is the your billing systems. What kind of billing system will I use?
Wow.
And I mean, included in the billing, I will add, is your strategy around how you're going to collect. Because it's
Yes.
one thing
Yes.
to sell, it's one thing to get services out to the marketplace, but collecting is another thing. So do people need to be do I need people to pay up front? Will I take deposits? How's that going to work?
And is this irrespective of the size of the business? Do you fundamentally believe like
I'm
this
t
is just
when
like,
when you're getting started and up to mid-size, I want to
mhm.
say this is when you're really doing the foundation, because
Okay.
once you get to
Yeah.
so enterprise level, typically 250 million or beyond, I would say, I think that some of these decisions that you make early stage will tell you what you
Help you.
do next.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
you're welcome. And
And
of course,
so,
and there's no one thing that fits every business. Every business
yes.
is different.
hmm
Yeah, yeah,
hmm
yeah.
And so, final question before I get into rapid thrivers. So, when you think about like all you've accomplished, the work you're leaning into now, the passion that you're leading it with, your faith that you lock so beautifully into and bring into everything you do, like, what do you believe is the legacy that you're already like? I truly do believe there's legacy that's left in this episode. So, what do you believe is the growing legacy that you are
Mm.
leaving?
Mm. And Kathy, I will tell you that not a week goes by where I don't get a message, LinkedIn, email, whatever it is, phone call from somebody that says, I want you to know how you've affected my career. I want you to, and I'll give you one specific one that I got, about 2 or 3 weeks before I went on vacation, so about 3 weeks ago. I was on LinkedIn, and a woman posted about how she had, gone to New York City and launched her business and talked about all the risks she's done. She'd taken. Really good story. 500 or so likes and lots of forwards. I was so impressed by the story that I posted. I put a little note that said, "I don't know you, but I'm pretty impressed and good on you. Go for it." Thinking that was the end of that. She wrote back a few days later. Dr. Caroline, I was in the audience 8 years ago and heard you speak, and you will never know the impact you had on me. And so I share, and I share that because this is just one random
Yeah,
data
yeah,
point
yeah,
that just
yeah.
commented, and she actually knew me and heard me and was
Yes, yes,
inspired by
yes,
me.
yes.
And so this person I didn't know, but I'm saying to you, people who I know who will say, after taking your program, after taking your course,
Yeah.
after working with you, after this and that. And so to answer your question pointedly, the legacy is in the knowing that I am making a difference in people's
hmm
lives, in
hmm
specifically people's careers,
hmm
in having people feel like I can do this, I will do this. That plus the fact that I am a philanthropist, and so
hmm
I do support education and people who are learning to become educators, and I support that in a fairly substantial way. And so that's also a legacy that I leave, because the last financial gift that I gave is to perpetuity. It's an endowment and
Oh, that's beautiful.
drawn it to perpetuity, and so which means it's eternal.
Wow. I'm so blessed. I believe we met on LinkedIn.
Yes, I think I might have reached out to you on
Yeah,
LinkedIn
I think we
because
met on LinkedIn.
you were
Yeah,
posting about
yeah,
your
yeah.
gym, and I was like, oh, go for you, go for
Yeah.
you.
And then our paths crossed. And we have and
Audits.
we
Yeah, yeah.
yes, and then we just had mutual connects. It's very fascinating. And I believe on the like we're gonna stay on after we hit stop. I actually believe that there might be another connect based on something you said on this podcast. I can't wait to quickly ask you. So I'm going to take you through some rapid thrivers.
Sure.
When you think of someone who inspires you, who comes first to mind?
Mandela.
Oh,
Mm. Perseverance,
yeah,
grit, character. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's legacy.
All of
That
it.
is
All of it. Yeah.
massive legacy.
All of it.
Massive legacy. What's a daily activity that helps you with your thrive?
Movement. Movement. I work out 6 days per week, and
Mhm.
weights and I alternate weights, cardio, but
Yeah,
movement. Absolutely. And
I
I
love
do,
it.
this is not daily, but I do intermittent fasting as well.
Okay. What is a book that has helped you with your thrive?
Seat of the Soul by Eckhart
Oh,
Tolle. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in the order of my personal development, I'm just looking here. I read A Return to Love,
Okay. Read that too.
Marianne Williamson,
Marianne Williamson, that's right. Yeah.
and then I read I think I read The Power of Now
Read that
first.
too. Read that too. Yeah.
Then I read then I read The Seed of the Soul.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That
it's like
that
we're talking about
witness. Yeah.
decades. Yeah. Yeah.
That witness that's there and checking
Yeah.
in and yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's even though I read it back then, I'm not sure if you've read anything by Michael Singer.
No, not that I can think of.
So because you said the witness, to any listeners, like I've said this before, I actually have done an episode on this. So Michael Singer helped solidify something that I read in that book years ago because Oprah even had him a number of times on her
Yeah.
podcast, and she often quotes "The Seed of the Soul." But Michael Singer says, "I am the one who sees from
Mm,
in here somewhere. I am the one who looks out, and
mm,
I'm aware of the thoughts, the emotions, and the experiences that are passing before me." Like,
mm.
like
Powerful.
that connected with witness for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
really and truly, your biggest I am is a witness to the life you're living.
Completely. And that witness is silent, and that witness
It's
is who we need to
right.
check
It's who
into
we
and
need to
tap
be.
into.
Exactly. And
Completely.
if you can sit more in your witness,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
will you will keep yourself out of trouble.
Absolutely. And but we have to remember to check in. That's the thing. Because
Right. That's it. Well, that's it.
and
Right.
and and sometimes some of us sometimes are so busy, 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 busy that
Yeah.
we numb out the witness.
Hmm.
We numb out. But if we're
Yeah.
this is why stillness is so critical.
Yeah.
But if we're still long enough and intermittently, we do hear what witness is
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
And I think by the way that you start your day is very similar to mine. So I use the Bible app as well, and I love that it has gamification
Yes.
because I think today I was checking my streak and my daily refresh just went over and went to 1001 today. And then the amount of days I've opened up the Bible app is some, I don't know, like 13. And it's only because I missed one day. If I hadn't missed that day, I would have been like whatever,
Yeah.
1300 plus.
I'm like that with my Peloton app, actually.
Oh, gamification. Yeah. So I think that, anyway, the point I was just trying to make is when you have the right system in place to support your personal and continued development,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can actually grow the muscle of that. So even in the busyness,
Yeah.
stillness will be the first thing you reach to when you start to feel some resistance to life. Because I do believe that life is flow.
Absolutely.
Even if there is disruption,
Yeah.
you can flow through it.
Life is flow. And that's why
Right.
we need to go and understand
Right.
even
And
within flow,
flow
there
with
is
the
this,
disruption.
yeah, and
Right.
even
Yeah.
sometimes with flow, even with flow, there's resistance because the
Because
resistance is what makes
right.
us stronger.
Right. Because the
Yeah.
truth is you're in the disruption, but you're not the disruption.
Disruption. That's it. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And so if you're feeling uncomfortable, it's because you've become the disruption. You get what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Completely
Anyway,
do.
we could do a whole episode on that. Um, what is an app that helps you with your thrive?
What is sorry?
An app.
Oh, the Peloton app.
Yeah, I bet you should say the
And
Peloton.
because it's silly, it's silly. I mean, anywhere I travel in the world, I literally one of the things I do when I land is to make sure that, especially if it's a
You
long,
have Wi-Fi?
do I have Wi-Fi? Because on that flight, did I miss my, it's another day here. Did I miss
Yes,
a
yeah,
day?
yeah, yeah. You have to
Like
log in so
it's
that you don't get
it's at that
so,
level where
so
it's become pedantic. It's like,
yeah,
no,
you
no,
don't want
I
to
got it.
set it back to zero.
Because when I went to a couple of years ago, we got to flew into Cairo, Egypt, and because of the time zones, I missed it. So I started over. So I'm still,
Uh,
anyway,
that's what
all
happened with
good.
the Bible app. But you know what?
Yeah.
And I wish more apps would lock into it. The Bible app has a way for you to kind of argue your point
Oh,
and
really?
ask for the reset.
Interesting. And that we would take the time to do that tells you how much of
Right.
a hold it has on us, right?
Like that's
Funny.
brilliant. Thank you, Bible app. And so last rapid fire is what's one misconception that people have of you as they see you in your thrive?
People think that it's perfect and it's easy.
Yeah.
It ain't. It isn't. Takes effort, takes discipline,
Mhm.
takes grit. Sometimes I don't feel like I want to do it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's not about a feeling, it's a decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
decision. We're doing it and we have to do it and let's move on. We're doing it.
It's
Once
not
you,
about a feeling. I used to do quotes on. I'm gonna Rose. I hope you listen to this at the end. I used to do quotes on there. It's not about a feeling; it's a decision. That's a
it's a
powerful
decision.
quote. That's a
completely.
powerful quote.
Yeah.
So where do we find more of you, Dr. Carolyn Power?
Absolutely. So LinkedIn, I'm there in a big way. I have a very, very small Instagram presence, and because I'm quite private, but
Mhm.
LinkedIn is really the place to go. And of course, any of my businesses, so Sensitivity Training Canada, Canadian HR Academy, Worldwide Workplace Learning, go to their website so you can reach me through there.
Perfect. And I will share all those links in the show notes.
Absolutely.
And as a final question, please finish this sentence for us. I am empowered in my skin when.
I'm empowered in my skin when I think about how far I have come
Mm.
and how blessed I am.
Mm. Mm. That's such a beautiful statement. I don't know if it's because of all that I've experienced of you, but to end it on that is so beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and Ketchy, for the opportunity. It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Yes, girl, look, we found out I'm not that far from you, and
Yeah,
there's like coffee chats in our future.
for
Okay.
sure, for sure, for sure.
Like we're deepening this network of connections. So to everyone that's listening, thank you so much. I trust that you're extremely powered in your skin. And yes, but sadly, this is where I have to say, we're out. Bye-bye. There you have it. I trust that you're feeling more empowered in your skin. And as the late Dr. Maya Angelou says, when you get, you give, when you learn, you teach. So it would mean so much for us at EIMS if you share this episode and tag us or teach an insight that you learned from today's episode on your socials and tag us. And remember to go over onto iTunes and leave us a review or follow us on socials at Empowered in My Skin. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.